and let there be sound. Hello everybody, my name is Kirby Kwan Jr. and you are currently tuning into as well as watching the Ghetto Fabulous Podcast. So as you can see, we made some changes today. We actually have like a video set up. This is just like a proof of concept type of thing. We have no idea how well or how poorly this could go. We are already seeing some issues and we will be playing around with this. For example, we don't like the fact that the laptops are open and you can see our waveforms. So we're just going to keep that partially closed.
Also, I can't properly see Kirby through like all the metal.
We have too many. This really should be lowered, and I'm bumping into this thing constantly. So I apologize for any potential sound issues that we have for today. But joining me, as you could see, for once, is your boy Shane. How are you doing today? Besides hot and sweaty, because we've like put up these tiles and shit and stuff, and we're tired.
Also, there's the light, but I'm okay.
Yeah, this is the first time that he's going to experience the ring light shining down on him at full force for an hour straight.
Loving it.
Yep. So, today the topic that we will be talking about is the Justice League Snyder Cut going to HBO. So first things first, I guess it's important to ask, what were your thoughts and opinions on the Justice League movie that we ended up getting in theaters?
Awkward. Like, it was just more of an awkward piece of work. I don't know, man. It's hard to say just because, like, after reading, like, the amount of, like, fuck-ups or edits or whatever that was necessary, all right, to get what we got, I was just like, there's no way, all right, like, the Snyder Cut could be worse than this, right?
I didn't like the movie at all, and I was very adamant about that. Like, I told everybody, fuck Justice League, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Just kidding. But it is not a good movie, though. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of issues with it tonally, and it, you know, like, it didn't look good either. No,
that was the number one thing that I just started, like, realizing was just, like, a lot of the visuals are hideous to look at.
Strangely enough, though, have you seen, like, certain scenes of the movie, like, in its original, like, coloration?
Yeah, they look way better.
Yeah, the CG actually somehow, like, blends in better and everything. I don't know exactly how the CG works, but, like, that actually does work out.
I mean, I kind of see why, because at least, like, it hides what Cyborg looks like, because Cyborg always looks like a freaking weird mishmash.
He looks like a diamond action figure.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I don't know if I like it, but it's definitely interesting.
I don't know. To me, it was just like, Cyborg at no point looked cool or interesting, alright? He just looked like this walking, like, set of pixels.
And he had the best lines in the whole movie taken out from the movie.
What were they again?
You should probably move.
That
was in the trailer. It was in the trailer and then they took it out.
Yeah.
That was some bullshit.
But that whole scene of just, like, you know, like the battle at the end, right? That was all shot at night, right?
But why was it color corrected to look like bright as hell?
Exactly. And like, because of that, right, like, they didn't get enough time to properly edit out all the colors, so some things just look really, really weird, right?
Yeah. That tentacle monster thing was also just strange.
I just don't understand what that was. I'm sorry.
And then story-wise, I didn't really care about that one family that was there.
I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, we're here.
I was like, okay, well, go die now.
Yeah, I was like, how about we focus more on Victor Stone? Because, like, he actually had a lot of scenes that you see in, like, the trailers and stuff, like him playing football in that weird kind of VR digital realm and stuff like that. That shit looked interesting. Mm-hmm. And then it was just gone.
But I also have my biggest issue with that whole movie is just who the main villain was, which is, like, who here actually gives a fuck about Steppenwolf?
Yeah, we talked about this briefly in our very first episode, which we will link in the bottom or in the description if you're listening to this on the audio side. But yeah, wasn't a big fan of that movie. What did you think about the two leading up to it? Superman and Batman v Superman.
Superman Man of Steel was okay. Superman v Batman was not good. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
How about Wonder Woman? And yes, we're skipping Suicide Squad.
Wonder Woman was okay, actually. I actually did like it, yeah. And to me, it was...
You did not like it?
No, I did like it.
Oh, okay.
But what I was saying is, like, with Wonder Woman, it was only good just because, like, it was safe. There wasn't really any, like, you know, issues or things that they tackled, all right? It wasn't all that interesting, right? In my opinion. Because to me, it was just like, okay, in comparison to, let's say, like, Superman, right? Man of Steel, right?
Yeah.
It's the origin story behind Superman, right? Which has been done so often. We've seen it like a million times, right? For Superman, like, you know, v Batman, all right? It was a trash fire.
I actually liked Batman v Superman. I would never say I loved it, but I certainly liked it. I think it was mostly because of weird aspects that hasn't been done on screen before. So Wonder Woman, I mean, yeah, we had like the Linda Carter like stuff back in like the 60s or 70s, I think.
Yeah.
But like this is like a modern take, and we could take her seriously, and she looked like an actual, you know, like a warrior. That was some Wonder Woman was probably one of the best aspects of that movie. And then Ben Affleck's Batman, which everyone was like anticipating, and I still think that is the best on-screen looking bat suit.
Buff bat.
Yeah, and it was comic accurate. And technically size wise, he's accurate. You know, people tend to forget that in the comic books, like Bruce Wayne is fucking huge. He's like 6'2" or 3" or some shit, 230 pounds of just like pure muscle.
Yeah.
So like, you know, like Ben Affleck does fit that type. So yeah, like I like that suit. I like aspects of it. Strangely enough, I don't like Superman's suit in the movies after Man of Steel. Have you noticed the differences?
I did, yeah. To be honest, like I just didn't really like it so much just because of the texture, but I guess they didn't have much of a choice.
The texture I didn't mind. The sheen I didn't mind. It just started to look really fake. Because in the first one, like, yeah, they still use a muscle suit, but it still looks like a real human being. Mm-hmm. In the second one, he got a little bit too big, but it was still like, okay, I could suspend my disbelief.
I don't know, because to me, is like when I'm thinking about the suits, right? Like Batman's suit in like Batman v Superman, right? It like he looked large, right? Like he reminded me more of
Frank Miller.
Yeah, because of just how friggin' thick his chest was, and like how deep that ridge was, right? Like in the middle.
We've had a private discussion about this. Like the reason why, as we discovered, was because Ben Affleck did get larger as the movie progressed. Because if you've seen like the initial screen test that was released by Jose Fernandez and his team at Ironhead Studios, like it looked good.
Yeah.
And then he got a little bit larger in the film, and I don't think that bothered me too much because it was mostly kept in the dark, and he was moving really quickly, so there was ways to hide it. They also fixed it in like Suicide Squad, but like I said, we don't really talk about Suicide Squad.
We'll get there, I'm sure. But
no,
yeah.
we don't. We will not. We will never.
We already had a whole episode on Suicide Squad.
I refuse. But when it came to Justice League, right, the biggest issue I saw was just there was a lot of tonal things that didn't make sense, and it kind of broke sort of continuity, like the quick 180, both in terms of the 180 for Batman liking Superman as a friend kind of makes sense. You know, like obviously it's still back to the Martha thing, but it still kind of makes sense. The thing that never made sense to me was why was he suddenly this jokey character to a degree? And
Batman?
And why did he want to just commit suicide himself? You don't remember when he was gonna fight Steppenwolf? It was like, all right, guys, since we have this team, you were going to stay away from this area. I'm gonna go in and fuck everything up.
Oh,
later, bitches.
Oh gosh,
that just makes no sense for Batman.
Well,
what was the point of having the team then?
That's a good point, but I feel as though like it's just, you know, what they wanted to do was have one of those moments of like Batman is willing to make that sacrifice, you know?
Yeah.
Because that is like kind of been like a consistent thing when it comes to crises within the DC universe, right? Batman's always willing to like end himself so that everyone else lives, right?
Yeah.
But they still didn't do it well, right?
Yeah,
I will give you that.
Because it made him look stupid. It's like, yes, I have this team of like fucking gods. Let's not use them.
I'm done. I quit.
I am the League.
But the thing is, like, my biggest issue with Justice League was that none of the characters actually made any sense, right? Based off of their, like, origins, right? So, Barry Allen, right? Like, you know, he is the Flash. Right?
I need to stop you real quick about this. People who say Barry Allen is the best part of this movie, you're fucking lying to yourself. He was probably the worst part of this movie.
He's one of them, in my opinion. He's not the worst thing about
the only redeeming factor of him is that he listens to K-pop. He was listening to Blackpink.
I mean, I guess. But when I saw his cave, I was just like, Jesus Christ, this is like a little over the top. And then when we had that moment, right, of, I don't know who it was Batman, I think, telling him like, dude, just go in there, all right, and just grab people and take them away. I'm just like, you're the fucking Flash. You're meant to be like a freaking investigator, right? Like, you're supposed to be like
CSI.
CSI, yeah, my bad. Like,
no, that's exactly what it means, crime scene investigation.
There you go. And to me, it's just like, as the Flash, all right? Like, yes, rescue is the number one thing that you see him do, right?
Yeah.
But he's also supposed to be able, all right, to actually, fuck fucking fight, right? Like,
forget fighting, bro. That fool can't run.
he can't even run, which was hilarious to me. The thing is, alright, like, just seeing him kind of like, like, the motions all look bad, right? There's not a single fight scene in that whole movie, right, that I think is like, okay, that actually looks okay.
That fool freaking ran like LeVar Ball. Have you seen? Do you know who that is? Okay, you're not gonna get it, but dude, that run was messed up, man.
It was bad.
You
They
would
also got
imagine-
the lightning off.
You would imagine that would be the one thing that they will nail.
I guess.
A character that runs. Okay, you need to be able to run. Cool, you got the job.
In my opinion, alright, like, the only character, alright, that was the closest to their actual representation was Diana, right? Every other character is just off by, like, measured, like, magnitudes.
I think Victor Stone would have been okay in the original cut.
In my opinion, yes, but
because there was a lot of stuff planned and revolving around him that never made it to the final film.
Well, if you think about it, alright, like, this Justice League movie was meant to be, like, a dark side war kind of thing, right? Like, that's sort of what they were aiming for, right? And a lot of that story focuses around Cyborg.
Yeah. Do you know the original plan that Zack Snyder had for Justice League? So I don't know if this is going to be what the Snyder Cut is, but this is from what I've researched. Apparently, the initial idea that Zack Snyder had for this was basically recycled and used for Apocalypse War. Which, thankfully and luckily, which was our last episode. So we don't need to talk too much about it. So, but for those who didn't know, the way that Zack Snyder wanted to do it was because of the visions that that Batman had during the nightmare sequences and the time traveling Flash in BVS. Mm-hmm. He got hella paranoid than he already was, which does make sense, like linearly compared to the story instead of being completely hopeful at 180. But he gets ultra paranoid, and then he wants to preemptively launch an attack against Darkseid in Apocalypse and shit, and then obviously they're ill prepared, and then hijinks ensues.
Timeline reboot and everything like that, yeah.
Kind of, yeah. Mm-hmm. So that was a plan. I don't know how dark Zack Snyder wanted to take that approach to it in terms of like kill count or whatever, but that was like initially how he wanted to take it. Whether or not that's going to be what we see on HBO Max is different.
I mean, it's HBO Max, so potentially, right?
But
we could
the
actually
thing,
see some gore.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, like, I don't think, because the thing about the Snyder Cut is, I don't think this is a case of like we're gonna reshoot new stuff. I think they're gonna take whatever they already have, maybe redub some things or reanimate certain things, but I don't think this is a case where they're going to refilm stuff.
Yeah, I personally don't see like any form of refilming for this. Which then again, that makes me worry because there's just some scenes in Justice League that just don't work.
Like Batman saying, something is definitely bleeding.
Oh gosh.
How do you go from "Tell me, do you bleed?" to "Yep, something is definitely bleeding"?
I don't know. To me,
my leg.
It felt as though, alright, that whole like Batman, alright, character that they were kind of messing with for Justice League, because in all honesty, it does not feel like the previous Batman characters.
It doesn't look like him.
Exactly, right? It feels as though that they wanted him to be like a tired old dad kind of character, right? Which in my opinion, like, kind of works, alright, but like, this is meant to be serious. Like, this is the Justice League, right? We're fighting like a war or whatever, right? So it doesn't make any sense to me, right?
The other thing that bothered me about that movie, and I don't know if you ever recently saw it, I did just for the sake of this podcast, and I do have regrets.
I already watched clips. I am wasting my time.
Have you noticed that like his hair continuity changes?
The colors, or
no, like just in general, like, well, his physical continuity changes a lot because of like the reshoots. Like you could tell that his physique was not the same at certain points.
Yeah.
And that bothered me. And you don't even need to look as deep as like looking at the shape of the body, like just the cheeks and the jawline. And you know,
I was about to say,
admittedly, you know, Ben Affleck at the time was going through a lot of things. He was kind of like having alcohol issues again. He was in like therapy and whatever the fuck. So, you know, I don't blame the dude necessarily, but like I would imagine they would have figured, you know, different ways to reshoot it to not be that obvious in between cuts.
I think though they probably saw that issue, all right, and didn't want to resort to the same solution that they had for the Henry Cavill mustache. You know what I mean? Where it just looks like his mouth is moving like really weird. Like
it looks like it has Botox.
Yeah,
his
exactly.
upper lip.
Up here is just dead, right?
Yeah.
Which is just like, what the fuck? But also, I don't know. To me, it was just like they really did not set the power scale like properly for a lot of these characters, right?
Yeah.
Flash, right? Basically made him like almost like a glorified cheerleader. It felt like, because what does he do, right? He runs around and he
runs.
Yeah, and he pushed Diana's sword towards her.
That was a cool shot.
That was a cool shot, right? And in my opinion, you almost can't go bad when it comes to slow-mo, like, speedster kind of shit.
Yeah.
But from there, all right, we got Aquaman. What can Aquaman do? Oh, he's got his trident.
What do you mean, bro? He has abs.
He's got abs, and he's got the sickest hair ever, right?
Yeah, and he's tatted up. What do you mean?
And not only he's tatted up, but here's my issue, right? As Aquaman, all right, the entire fight scene is on land.
Well, here's my thing, right? Like, to me, I think that's just because of like the general disrespect that Aquaman gets, and people forget that he's like he could legitimately stand toe to toe with like Superman, Wonder Woman, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that this film showcased that well.
And that's what I mean, right? Like, they set all the power scales like completely off, right?
Yeah.
They decided to center it all onto Superman and kind of Batman, all right? And that's it.
I would just say Superman, because like when he came back from the grave, right? I mean, because like the previous movie that involved these characters, BVS, we saw how Superman and Diana were like struggling to face Doomsday, right?
Yeah.
And then in this one, like, bruh, Superman just like flicked like Diana like on her shield, and she just flew like basically like a building's worth of space like away from him.
Not only that, but like when he was revived and Barry Allen was kind of like running past him, right? And his eyes kept up. I was just like, no.
That was cool. I can't even lie. That was cool.
It was cool, but to me, it's just like you are shafting like every other character.
In fairness, though, the Flash in this one is a
Not
bitch.
good Flash. He's not a good Flash. In
Yeah,
my
yeah.
opinion.
By the way, is it just me, or does he look like Joji? Does he look like Filthy Frank? I swear to God, he looks like Filthy Frank.
I'll be honest, all right? Like, I just couldn't look past
He
like,
just
the
looks-
ridiculousness of his suit.
To be honest, I didn't mind his suit.
Why?
Because the cables, you don't really see them. When he like once it's in motion, I don't mind it that much. When I saw the still image, though, I was like, oh no, he looks like the new Power Rangers movie. But when it was in motion, I'm like, you know what? This is all right.
My issue with it, all right, was I guess it's like kind of coming down to the physique of it, all right, which that it's barrel chested. You don't really get that kind of like V shape, right, that like Flash actually has, right? Because the Flash is meant to be like kind of like a fit guy, Barry Allen, right?
Yeah.
It looked closer to like a Bart Allen kind of character.
Or even like a young Wally.
Exactly, right? In terms of like just the straight physique, right?
Yeah.
And to me, it's just like kind of works, looks a little chunky in some weird spots. I don't really like it, all right? But in motion, I do see what you mean.
Yeah.
But following on that, right, my biggest issue is that whenever he's in motion, it's blue lightning. It's not the usual yellow, which to me was just like, one job! One job!
Okay. That's true. I will say, I don't think having the yellow lightning in this film would have worked, considering how shit like the color grade was anyways.
Fair, I mean,
We would never know until like this new cut comes out, I guess, but
I don't know, dude. To me, like, I think the biggest issue that Justice League had, right, was that it was cut, re-edited, and like re-edited over and over again, right? Like, it's a Frankenstein.
I think the best
creation.
way to word it is a condom that is used more than once.
Yeah, if you want to go that far, but yeah. Because there's just gaps between certain parts of the movie, right? That are just like
There's
not explained.
there's a lot of stuff cut. Like even Barry Allen, he gets redeemed at a point. I believe like there's a whole sequence that shows him like saving Iris, and they even casted Iris, and like the CG was almost good for that. Like they had a lot of preliminary stuff done, like the big things, like the car being flipped over or whatever the fuck, or maybe it was a bus.
Mm-hmm.
I forget, but like they didn't carry through with that. So.
But here's my question for you. How do you feel, all right, about this movie not having that Green Lantern that Ryan Reynolds was supposed to be?
Absolutely fine.
You think absolutely fine?
I don't think anyone likes that version of Green Lantern.
I don't think anyone does, yeah. But to me, it was just like, I kind of feel like the team is missing something.
Well, that makes sense because, you know, unite the seven. What the fuck does that mean?
Wait a minute.
No, really.
Just remember that.
What the fuck does that mean?
Oh, crap. There's 7, but there's only 5.
There's only 6 of them if you include Superman.
Oh Lord. Like I said, alright, like there's so much just like edited, like just shot to hell, right?
Supposedly, we've always seen Martian Manhunter in this. Not in Justice League, but I meant in the DCEU. He was supposed to be the Black General.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't remember his name.
I forgot his name too.
Yeah.
Nice.
I remember that, and that was confirmed like years after the movie came out.
So either we could have got Martian Manhunter in this movie, and technically they could still do that if they really wanted to spill the expense to animate Martian Manhunter and then just get the actor to do the voiceover. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, especially if they do the CG accordingly to like whatever lighting they choose.
True, but I mean, now, all right, I'm curious about the Snyder Cut, because if we are like doing the 7, right, and they completely like cut Green Lantern out, all right, but they bring in some of the newer characters that they introduced, like Shazam.
I don't mind that at all.
I don't mind that at all either, right? Yeah. And to me, it would actually make a lot of sense just because of that final credit scene that we got for Shazam.
Yeah.
So I think, all right, that would actually be kind of fun. I'd finally give Shazam something to do.
I don't think they would do that though, just because, like, I don't think they have any footage of Shazam.
What's his name again? The actor?
Zachary Levi.
Right.
Or Asher Angel as a kid.
Dude was entangled. That's all I remember.
Oh my god!
Yeah. He was Flynn Rider. I don't remember.
Damn. But yeah, so I think with this new HBO Max, we have the opportunity to not necessarily fix a lot of things, because like they are just taking footage that's already been shot. They just need to clean up, re-edit it. So I think something, as optimistic as we can be and should be, we also need to consider the possibility that this could be shit.
Yeah.
I will say this, I don't think it will nearly be as bad. Like either way, I think this has to be an upgrade from the first one, from the theatrical cut. It just has to.
Yeah, because to me it was like anything can be better, right, than weird metal tentacle monster and vibrating mother cube boxes.
Mother boxes.
Those were mother boxes, right?
Yes.
Those are so off.
Yeah, they really should just be like a tiny little thing.
Exactly, right?
It really should be a Rubik's Cube.
Exactly. But to me, it was just like everything about this like world that they're trying to establish is wrong.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, and to me, it's just like, I don't know what they're gonna do. They might redeem some things, all right? Because remember recently, all right, that they confirmed that the CW11 Flash universe, all right, is... Yeah. Like, it's all within technically the same multiverse.
Yeah, in Crisis of Infinite Earths, the multi-part, multi-show crossover, they established that it was part of the same universe and stuff, and that's when Barry meets Barry. That's what, Ezra Miller meets Grant Gustin, and that's when he first gets the identity of the Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, if that's the case, like, who knows? Maybe potentially we could see Grant Gustin actually show up, like in the HBO Max one, but that might be a bit, I don't know, outside of his usual stuff, because it gets pretty gruesome.
Yeah.
But I will say though, all right, just because we're kind of on the topic, right? Grant Gustin, he's my favorite like version of the Flash. You don't agree? Not feeling it?
For live action, yeah, but I would probably still stick with like the Wally West in the animated universe.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help but agree with that one, because like,
can I just say too, I think I like Wally West more than Barry Allen as the Flash anyways.
Really?
Yeah.
What are we talking here? Like the animated one or live action?
No, comic books.
Comic books, right?
90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now which Wally West? Because there's 2 versions of Wally West. Ginger. Okay.
Ginger in the 90s specifically.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. My only issue with any of these Flashes that we've kind of seen, right, is that like, if you really look at it, all right, like DC is always going to be king when it comes to their animated features, right? And anything like, within those universe works quite well. The Flash that we got, all right, from like Flashpoint Paradox, right? Yeah. That one to me was like one of the best, right?
Yeah.
You could not get more hype than like at the very end when he's like trying to run, right? But
that was so bad. That was like the worst CG.
No, I'm talking about like the animated one.
Yeah, that
for
was
Flashpoint Paradox.
Do you remember how that actually ends?
Oh no, not with the Batman, not Batman. Like, when he's like running through Gotham, right? What I'm talking about is like at the end when the bomb goes off.
What?
Do you know what I'm talking about? Flashpoint Paradox.
Okay.
Right? When, all right, the nuke finally goes off and Barry's told, right, like, you have to go back, right? To me, it's like, that point was like hype.
Because you said the end, and I thought like the end, that looked like ass.
To me, it was like, whatever. But when it comes to like the live action stuff, right? Like, it's always hit or miss, all right? Like, I feel as though the only like characters that they really landed for the live action stuff was
Shazam and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Actually, even Aquaman in his solo film.
I would say yes, because Aquaman was good.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Because I thought it was just going to be like an entire film based off an underwater level.
But no, we had deserts actually, which I did not expect.
Yeah.
But also, like, in all honesty, I think like DC's finally realizing, right, like, how to make proper superhero movies. Because before, they just had way too many people like directing or co-directing or like producing or something like that, and the visions kept getting mixed.
I genuinely think that they just need to stick to their guns. Because Marvel did that too. Let's not pretend like Marvel's perfect. Because we've seen some shit movies that a lot of people pretend doesn't exist. The first 2 Thors, trash. Iron Man 2, trash. Iron Man 3. We don't really talk about Iron Man 3. It's just, it's mediocre. No one really likes it or dislikes it. It's fine.
I don't think anyone even talks about Iron Man 2.
Because it's trash.
Yeah.
The best part about Iron Man 2 was maybe the CG, and that's it.
Not even, in my opinion, but hey.
That's what I said, maybe.
Listen, right? Like, anything when it comes, any, like, suit up, right? Like, shot of Iron Man is always fucking cool to look at.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah. Or, I'll say this, though. I will say this, though. The thing that I've always liked about DC movies more than Marvel movies, I shouldn't say always, but generally, is the way that they look. Because some people might like be thrown off by that. It's like, what? It's so dark or whatever. It might be a little bit dark. It might be whatever. But the thing is, they have actual style to them. If you look at a lot of Marvel movies, like post Avengers, they all look the same, and they look kind of gray. It's not just me, right? Like, it looks like it's like the blacks aren't blacks. They're like a weird gray or a blue.
I know what you're talking about.
Like, it's unsaturated, and then the compositions are kind of generic sometimes.
It's slightly muted, yeah. Like, the colors are definitely muted.
And then the CG sequences are hit or miss. Like, when it's good, it's really good. When it's bad, like Black Panther ending, it's really bad.
Oh boy.
Or even like some of the CG in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of them just look like rubber band people.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's like, when it comes to, like, animated features, right? DC is always going to be, like, the best, in my opinion, right? Like, looking at Marvel's, like, kind of track record with some of their animated stuff is, like, I get it. It's, like, geared more towards kids,
Yeah, have you seen their cringy CGI kids animated films?
Yes.
Yeah.
They hurt my eyes to look at, in all honesty. And DC's like, DC's also got like their own kid shows, right? Like, there was that one that had like an all-female superhero cast. I don't remember what it was. But also like Teen Titans Go.
We don't talk about Teen Titans Go in my house.
About that, yeah. And because of that, right, I feel as though, I don't know, like, when it comes to live action movies, right, like, DC's like struggled the hardest, right, in landing their characters,
especially of recent.
Exactly, yeah. Right. And for Robert Pattinson,
Robert Pattinson,
yeah. I'm really curious to see how his Batman actually like goes, because his suit is all kind of jank.
Yeah.
I don't even really know what this story is going to be about, because I know that it's meant to be like a year one Batman kind of story, right?
I don't know, man.
It's hard to tell, right? So
I'll say this, like, much like The Flash, like, I feel like I need to see it in motion. It might look better. Because, like, from the stills, because, like, every picture of it looks different. Like, the proportions of it looks different. Like, there's certain shots of it where it doesn't look bad.
There's certain shots of it where his head looks oversized.
No, the arm. And we are back. Sorry about that. We had a bit of a video feed issue. We're still getting used to this. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
we're talking about the Batsuit.
Thank you.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, so we're talking about the Robert Pattinson Batsuit and everything. We don't really know how that's going to work out. We know that it's not, at least we think it's not a part of the DCEU, right?
I don't know. In all honesty, like, they don't explain anything anymore, right?
Then let's not talk about it.
That's the thing, right? Like, DC is like tight-lipped now about like their movies. They don't really say like, you know, what universe is meant to be, or right, like, you know, or what time does this like actually happen.
I don't think they need to though, because like with the success of, for example, like Joaquin's Phoenix Joker movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like that was perfectly fine, and everyone knew it was a different movie and everything.
To me, is like, I really hope that they don't bring that into a universe, because I feel as though like
Arthur Fleck.
Yeah, because in my opinion, right, like it works as a standalone, right? Do not mix this in, all right? Do not make him like a legit like supervillain out there, like, you know, blowing up cities and bombs or whatever.
I don't even think it would work in terms of like with Batman, with Robert Pattinson.
Exactly.
Like assuming that Robert Pattinson in this new film is anywhere between his late 20s, early 30s. Bruh, Arthur's gonna die soon.
Well, Arthur's like an old ass man in a mental asylum.
Well,
in Gotham.
In his own film, he was implied to be 35 age wise.
That guy does not look 35.
Well, I mean, of course, he was also dehydrated and shit, but like, you know.
All right, fine.
That is the way it works.
Yeah. I mean, we had to make him look emaciated, I guess, so makes sense. But yeah, so
what are some major changes that you wish would be addressed in this upcoming Snyder Cut, so to speak?
Oh boy. That's a loaded question, just because, in my opinion, all right, like, I don't know if they can. They probably can't at all, all right, but get rid of Steppenwolf.
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, be realistic here, buddy.
I know, right?
That's just saying, oh, I want them to change Harry Potter. What do you want to change by Harry Potter? Could we just not have Harry Potter? We could do that.
Okay, fine. So, if there was anything I'd want them to change is focus more on Cyborg. All right, and fix his editing, like fix his CGI, because he is ugly.
I don't think they could do that in time.
Maybe like they might have the raw, right? Like, you know, like the raw shots or whatever, right? And like might be able to, like, you know, in post fix.
But you would have to completely redesign a new model, and then you have to like adjust it for lighting and stuff in every single shot.
In my opinion, all right, all you have to do for him, for his weird fucking armor, all right, is just give him a proper chest plate. Because everything looked like tinfoil, like crinkling forwards.
Oh my god, it does.
Right? So to me, it was just like, just establish a chest plate.
Dude, I can't get that image out of my head now.
Right? And now everything else flows from there, right? After that, all right? God. Fix the Flash, all right? Actually make him fight.
I don't think you can fix the Flash.
This is what I mean. My biggest issue is that power scaling, right, is completely off for all the characters, right?
Also, just continuity, bro. Exactly. How did this Flash become the Flash of the future that went back in time to warn Bruce?
They were definitely hinting at like a lot more going on, and in my opinion, all right, like I think DC, like, you know, just kind of like taking a tangent from this question, right? Like, I think DC shot themselves in the foot by making the team up movie first. They should have followed through with like a Marvel kind of strategy of like each character kind of gets their own standalone, right? And they may not be amazing or whatever, right? But they establish the character a bit more in the universe. Because to me, it's like seeing Flash just show up and seeing what his cave looks like. I was just like, looks like the cave of a psychopath. Like, Barry Allen doesn't even have a cave. And then we see, like, Cyborg, like, he's born through this movie, right? Fine. That perfectly makes sense, right? And then we see, like, Superman, he's dead. Batman, whatever. Diana, the Mascara, whatever, right? Like, those are kind of meant to be, like, you know, distant stories, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, if you did the standalones, all right, at first, and actually established, like, what these characters are, how they got to the point of, like, I just push people, man. I don't fight. I don't hit.
I just give them wedgies, dog.
Exactly. And what's stupid is, like, I don't know. I think my biggest issue is the Flash in this movie. Now that I think
I told you, I think the Flash is probably the worst. A lot of people, when they first said, yeah, the Flash is the best part of this, I'm like, why the fuck you lying, dude?
Ezra Miller, that's the actor for him. I think, like, he really needed better lines. He needed better scenes.
No, of course. Because if you've seen him, because in BVS, he seemed okay.
Yeah.
Granted, we only seen him say like 5 things.
I mean... Also, the unmentionable Suicide Squad. He was in that movie as well.
We don't talk. No, you want to get kicked out? I just told you we don't talk about Suicide Squad in this house.
Oh, jeez. But anyways, like, I think reshoot the Flash. All right, like fix some of his scenes. All right, get rid of that whole scene between him and Bruce of like Bruce being like, just go in there and pull people out. Get rid of that. Just get rid of it.
The thing is, I don't think they're shooting anything for this.
They're not, but you can still cut. And here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
This movie, like I said before, has been like shot, reshot, edited, re-edited, like it's a Frankenstein creation, right? We don't know how much spare footage there is lying around of scenes that we just never ever like got to see.
Like fucking, you should probably move.
Exactly, right? Like shit that was used for the trailers.
I will
right?
jizz when I see that. Then you really should probably move.
In my opinion, all right, like there are so many, like, how should I say, like probably like reels of footage, all right, that we just don't even know about. So potentially, all right, we could probably get an entirely different movie.
But if the Flash is written the way that he is in both versions, then he was just destined to be a bad character in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, this Snyder Cut is really going to prove something, in my opinion, which is that maybe we weren't supposed to get a Justice League movie out of all this.
Well, I don't mind if it's like a mediocre movie. Like, for example, Age of Ultron was not
good.
I would say it's good, but it's not like if I didn't see it, I don't think I'd be offended or anything.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If Justice League was at least like that, I don't think anybody would bat too much of an eye.
Mm-hmm.
And I've mentioned this before with my homeboy William. I said, like, just after we saw Suicide Squad, I'm like, man, if either Justice League or Wonder Woman, if neither of them are good, this is done. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, we had the Wonder Woman movie, which was great. Mm-hmm. So, but this Justice League movie, oh my god. Yeah. The other thing too is I'm not sure how they're going to release it. There are rumors saying that it would be released as a 4-hour film. 4-hour film.
That's longer than like a Lord of the Rings movie.
Other sources say that it'll be released as like a multi-part type of, like
an episodic kind of thing.
Kinda, yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't think I would mind that if it was split into like a decent amount of number, like between 3 to about 3 or 4. I think that's okay.
I think the most if you do something like that is like 5 or 6.
Yeah, if you go past 6, I'll be like I'll be questioning a lot of things.
Exactly.
Like the flow might fuck you up a bit.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
As long as it's not 13 episodes, right? Like that would, what the fuck?
Yeah. Okay, we're doing good for time. What, because there's been cries, so to speak, on the Twitterverse and shit. People are now asking Josh Trank to come back to fix Fant4 Stick. And
I wasn't expecting that, but
yeah, what do you think?
Okay, so this is just my own personal thing. I personally do not like the Fantastic Four in Marvel.
Like the characters themselves.
And the characters in general. I don't like them, right? I don't like them because I feel as though that they're still a product of
the 60s.
Yeah, the 60s, all right? And they almost have no place in the real world right now.
Okay.
Right? I'm only saying that, right, because like you can almost never make elastic powers look cool, in my opinion, right? The only like kind of closer thing that I kind of saw with that, right, was like Ralph Digby or whatever, right, from CW11.
Elongated Man.
Exactly, yeah.
Why do you keep on calling it CW11?
I don't remember. I don't know. It's the Arrowverse. That's the right term.
No, but why? Where's the 11 coming from?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. My brain's like making this up from like a past memory.
R2D2 channel. Yeah.
But anyways, like I personally don't think that the Fantastic Four really has much of a place like in the current superhero world that we have, right? The Thing is like Rockman, okay.
No, he's not the Rockman.
He's the Thing.
Mega Man is the Rockman.
Anyways, and then we have like Invisible Girl, and then we have what was it? The Torch.
Torch. The Torch.
I don't. That's the thing, right? Like Torch. To me, all right, like, and then we have like Franklin Richards, right? And to me, it's like,
well, not yet.
Not yet. You can potentially make his character work, all right, by having him not use his powers at all, almost, all right, and just having him use his intellect. Yeah. To me, like, if you have a plotting, intelligent, like, main character, all right, that actually works quite well. The Thing, it'll be difficult, in my opinion, right? Like, it's hard because we already have the Hulk. We already also have Korg, if you think about it, who is also just another rock man.
with way more personality.
And a shotgun, yeah. And then you have, like, you know, Human Torch, right, which is on fire. Johnny Storm. Johnny Storm, in my opinion, he can stand alone as a character.
Well, I mean, he technically did, like the original one, the Android one.
There you go, right? And then we have Susan Richards.
Susan Storm Richards.
I don't remember.
Because they're married, so.
Exactly, yeah. No. In my opinion, like, invisibility does not quite work.
I think if they push more the projectiles that they can make with invisibility, it would work.
Well, her whole thing is like force fields as well.
Yeah,
right?
force fields and projectiles. But I feel like, generally speaking, no one really cares about the Fantastic Four. They just care about Doctor Doom.
Exactly. But to me, it's like Fantastic Four, like, ah, my gosh, like, it is a cursed franchise, right? Yeah. Like, the first few movies that we got, all right, with, I don't remember, what was that? The female actress that we had for Susan Storm.
Jessica Alba?
Jessica Alba.
Dude, I love Jessica Alba.
What, do you think that she made a good Susan Storm?
No, it was weird. Why would you... No, hear me out. We all know that Jessica Alba is a very, like, beautiful woman and everything. But why would you cast somebody who has a Latin American look and then force her to either wear a wig or dye her hair blonde and then get blue contacts? Makes no sense to me.
No. But then again, the latest Fantastic Four.
Bruh, the latest Fan Four-Sick, the Susan Storm and that, like, her hair color changes, like... Dude, I briefly complained about Ben Affleck in Justice League. Bruh, it's not even close to that shit.
There you go.
Anyways, the reason why I brought it up is because Josh Trank said no.
I'm glad. I am so glad. Because in my opinion, Fantastic Four should stay dead.
Jesus. I
don't see it working as a franchise. I don't see these characters actually having interesting, like, storylines later down the line, right? Unless you completely rebrand them, right, into the Future Foundation, which is what the comics did.
Done with, yeah.
Right? And the Future Foundation brought in Spider-Man. So there's your tie-in.
Speaking of Spider-Man, so I was wondering, like, what other film franchises that you know of who, you know, did have, like, a lot of footage film that you would like to see them try to recut or re-edit. The first thing that came to my mind when I thought of this was the Amazing Spider-Man franchise.
Oh, boy.
Because the thing about... Because, you know, love them or hate him. A lot of people hate him. I just hate the second one. The first one was honestly perfectly fine. The thing that I love about them is, generally speaking, the casting of the core characters are good. Mm-hmm. Sally Field as Aunt May, perfectly fine. I'll talk about Andrew Garfield later, but, like, I think everyone loves Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy.
Yep.
The thing about Andrew Garfield, I feel like, because, like, a lot of people say, "Oh no, Peter Parker has no friends. He's too looking." Peter Parker had friends, bro. He had a lot of friends. They were all geeks too, but he had friends.
Outcasts, yeah.
That's the thing. The thing about Peter Parker is, you know, he's not just meant to be typecast as a nerd. He is definitely scientific and shit. He's meant to be an outcast. And at that era, there's a lot of people complain like, oh, Andrew Garfield is not a fucking outcast or whatever. This would never happen. Well, we were actually teenagers around that time, and I can assure you that is what a fucking weirdo would be in high school at that time.
I had friends.
In fairness, though, I don't think any fucking high schooler looked like they were in their 30s.
Right.
You know, you can maybe, yeah, but, you know, like, at that time, I was a teenager, and I can assure you, he's a fucking weirdo. That's why I defend it. Like, he's too good. I'm like, no, he's fucking weird. He's fucking weird.
Well, my thing about it was that, so whenever I think of Spider-Man or Peter Parker as a character, right, like, the number one thing that comes to my mind is, like, he's meant to be a loser.
Yeah.
He's meant to be, like, kind of like this dork, right, that just never gets a break, right?
He's meant to be fucking weird.
Exactly, right? And Andrew Garfield, I think, didn't do the best job of that. I think he did a good job, right? Yeah. But with the scenes that he was given, right, like, you know, the dude skateboards, right? Like, you know, he's kind of, like, coasting through, like, school or whatever, right? Yeah. And, like, and honestly, he's kind of lovable, all right, because of it. Okay. And he's good looking and all that, all right? And to me, it's just, like, Peter Parker's meant to have, like, fucking acne and glasses and look like a dork, all right? Not necessary. It's really not necessary, yeah. Right? Like, you don't have to stick that strictly, right, with that kind of thing going here, right? Like, you know, I'm not going to say that, like, you know, putting a zit on his head was going to make him, like, more of a dork or anything like that.
And the thing, too, is, like, you know, in certain iterations, like, in Bendis' run, like, Spider-Man does have, like, there is a charming quality to him. Like, yes, he's like I said, he's fucking weird. I just love saying that now. It just audibly sounds cool, too. It's fucking weird.
He's just a weirdo, yeah.
Yeah, but there's still a charm to his weirdo ways. And I think that was demonstrated really well in the scene with when Uncle Ben confronted, like, Peter is like, bruh, why the fuck did you like bully this dude? And then like this is like, wait, hold on, that's a girl from your computer and shit. And like, yeah, it's in any other circumstance, it's fucking weird. But like, there was a charm to it. It also helped that, you know, Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone had natural chemistry that was like really good.
Yep.
But yeah, that's the main reasons why, as to why I want to see it. It's also because there's a lot of shit that was cut in the trailers that I really want to see how that would have played out. Like when Dane DeHaan as Harry Osborn was like, oh, so we've been watching you forever, Peter Parker. You know, isn't that the question of the day or some shit? What the fuck was up with that, man? That was so interesting. I needed to know what the fuck was up with that.
I don't know. To me, it's like there's parts of that movie that I feel are just.
Paul Giamatti as the Rhino.
Yeah. Paul Giamatti as the Rhino, electro dubstep. Sorry, dubstep. Wow, dubstep fight scene. That one was just like, oh boy, you're really catering to an audience.
The thing is, Jamie Foxx. The thing about both Dame
as the nerd.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up
with a lisp
and like the hair. What was up with the hair?
And the buck teeth.
The gap, yeah. And that magically got fixed with the eels and shit.
Yeah, like the electricity fixed his face.
That was a weird movie. No, but I was about to say, like, the thing is, I like Dane DeHaan as Harry Osborn. I don't think he did a bad job. But as a Goblin, it was just like, no. Well, why? What is wrong with you guys? Why are you guys so afraid of, like, green and purple, man? Just do it.
Why'd you also have to make him look so monstrous?
I think they were trying to go for, like, an ultimate thing. But if so, they had to commit to it all the way.
Yeah, and, like, that would have been closer more to, like, a Hobgoblin kind of design, don't you think? Because the Hobgoblin one is like the more monstrous looking design, isn't it?
Not really. Unless you want to go for the modern one, the Demo Goblin type of Hobgoblin.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but the thing was, like, he was okay as Harry I almost said Harry Potter. Harry Osborn, but like as the Green Goblin or whatever, I'm just like, no, this doesn't work. The inverse for Jamie Foxx as
Electro.
As Dylan, I was just like, wait, yeah, Max, excuse me. I was just like, what is this? What am I watching?
When I saw that, I immediately like thought like you guys are pushing like really hard, right? Like it is forced.
Subtlety is not there.
Exactly, right?
But as Electro though, I'm like, yo, aside from the dubstep thing, like, yo, I ain't mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people are like, oh, it looks nothing like the comics. I'm like, that's kind of true, but also kind of not true. He looks like the ultimate version.
Yeah. Like
the Bendis again, or I don't know who drew that. Fuck. It's just escaped my mind, but like, yeah, like it looks like that version. Of course, he has the suit and stuff to make it look like realistic. So
yeah.
I don't mind it. It's not like X-Men where they removed all the colors from the character. It still looks okay. Magneto looked fine, but
he was all black.
It was actually purple.
Yeah,
really dark purple, admittedly.
But anyways, yeah.
But speaking of suits, though, I just want to see the Amazing Spider-Man suit again. The second one.
Yeah.
My favorite on-screen appearance.
Yeah, I'd say like, that's actually like kind of up there for like some of the best in-person suits, like live action stuff.
Yeah.
But let me think for my movie, right, that I think like could be redone or needs to be redone. Fantastic Four is already out, like, that's never gonna happen. I honestly I don't like any of this.
Well, you need to remember this has to be like something that already exists, but it needs to be fixed with existing footage, not just completely. Oh, let me make a new movie.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's what makes it hard. That's why I thought of Amazing Spider-Man.
Because my answer was gonna be Ghost Rider, but like, I don't know. It's hard because like the main Marvel movies that I had like my biggest issue with, right, was Daredevil and Ghost Rider, right? And I have no idea if there's that much footage left over from them.
Well, with Daredevil, they did kind of fix in the director's cut. It's still like a mediocre movie, but it's no longer like dog shit.
Fair. I mean, okay, I'm probably gonna have to pull from like a DC movie because if there was one movie,
Catwoman. You can't say Catwoman. Okay, I apologize. We actually don't talk about Catwoman in this house either.
Halle Berry's Catwoman.
No. We don't talk about that in this household. We're also running low on time.
Yeah, okay, fine. So I guess for my answer, I'm probably going to have to go with BVS. I think, all right, for BVS, all right, you can do a lot more, right, if you just focus on actually just Batman versus Superman, right? I don't know if it was necessary to introduce Diana into that movie. And though you say, right, like, you know, she's the best part, I think the only reason why is because she wasn't anything to do with Bruce or Clark, right?
I thought the obvious answer was going to be Suicide Squad, actually. Do I think it would end up being a good movie? Probably not. But there's a lot of Joker stuff that... Like, we know there's a lot of shit that was cut out from that movie.
So, here's the thing, right? Like, Suicide Squad would be my second answer for that, right? Just because I feel as though BVS has a lot more potential to work with something, right? Yeah. But Suicide Squad itself, like, it's kind of like a loose cannon, right? In a lot of ways. That's the air that, you know... Sorry, that's the atmosphere to Suicide Squad, right? And Suicide Squad, I think, like, yes, you can, like, reshoot an entire movie with it, all right? Like, probably just with the Joker footage, all right? And it would be better. Because in my mind, I felt as though, like, Joker was going to be the main villain. No, apparently...
That would be the obvious thing to do.
Yeah.
Why would you have, like, world-ending things in, like, a B movie?
Exactly.
Or, like, a side movie. I shouldn't say B movie. In a side plot movie.
Yeah.
You would imagine it would be the Joker.
Exactly. And the thing is, right, like, in Suicide Squad, I feel as though, like, there are only two characters that I really give any craps about, right?
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Will Smith as Deadshot. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And then maybe if there was a third one, it would be Captain Boomerang by Jack Courtney. Just because I think he was made for that role, honestly.
In my opinion, yes, because he was probably one of the best parts about that.
Even though everyone shits on Jack Courtney, I feel like that was like the perfect role for him.
I thought it was good. I thought he was like just fine as Captain Boomerang, right? But when it came down...
But have you seen him in Terminator?
Get wait. Yeah. we're going off topic.
Sorry, Die Hard. Oh,
Oh god, we're going off topic. Anyways, Suicide Squad, I think, like, I don't know, there's not enough clout behind it, right, to really warrant like a redone or like, you know, restyling behind it.
Well, like I said, most people hate that movie anyways.
Exactly, right? And the thing is, like, I think we are gonna get a redone version of the Suicide Squad, aren't we? This one having guy from Pacific Rim. The general from Pacific Rim, the first one.
I didn't see the first one.
Shit. Oh gosh. What other movies was this guy in? Heimdall from
Idris Elba.
Yeah, Idris Elba. Like, we're gonna get him as Deadshot.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. I thought that was just a rumor.
I also thought it was just a rumor until I saw someone like sent like a shot of them recording. So I have no idea. And he looked good in the suit.
Well, Idris Elba is also like a legit martial artist. I believe he won his first Taekwondo tournament at age 45 or some shit.
This man is old. Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
but he don't look old. Like he's a smooth D's motherfucker.
He's like Will Smith. They never age. But
a lot of people, like, here's a subtle thing too. I think a lot of people sometimes forget there's other black actors out there and unknowns. Like did you see that movie Tenet? Well, it's not out, but like the trailer for the movie Tenet.
Yeah.
That could be Bronze Tiger.
Actually, yeah.
That man would kill it.
Yeah, actually, yeah. But to me, it's like BVS has much more writing behind it, all right, in terms of clout and fan base, all right, compared to the Suicide Squads. And I'm only saying that mostly because, right, it's Batman and Superman, right? When it comes to
What more you need?
Huh?
What more you need?
Exactly, right? When it comes to the Suicide Squad, all right, what is the Suicide Squad when you think about it? It is a movie about, like, B to C tier villains working together.
And also, King Shark is a shark.
I don't think we're ever going to get a King Shark outside of, like, the Arrowverses.
Yeah, it's a shame. Yeah. Okay, so we're running low on time, so I guess we got to wrap this up.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I will say really strange is I'm noticing there's while I was doing like a bit of research for this, there's a lot of movies and like under DC that really could have had this treatment. The first time I could think of is Richard Donner's second Superman movie.
Okay, yeah.
Because that was like they were like kind of like flustered with each other, and then they finally like released the Donner version.
Yeah.
A second version I could think of is actually on Marvel's side that I could immediately think of is the very first Fantastic Four movie. Oh, God. I'm not talking about the one in 2004 or 3 or whatever. I'm about the 80s one.
Oh, God.
You moan at that, but that's probably the most accurate and faithful version of Fantastic Four. But that's for another time.
It's a product of the 60s.
Yeah. Are you... Well, I know you are looking forward to this. How excited are you, though? Level of 1 to 10.
I'm going to keep my expectations a little low for this. I'm going to probably leave myself at like a 6.
I'm sitting at a solid 7 or 8. just because I do like the cast of characters. I don't like the way that they were treated or used, especially for my boy Ray Fisher as Cyborg. But I'm definitely looking forward to again. You should probably move. With that said, I think that will conclude today's episode of the Ghetto Fabulous Podcast. Tell us what you think about this new format that we are still experimenting with and we will fix. But yeah, I think this is a pretty nifty change, won't you say?
I like it, yeah.
Cool. As far as the audio side, don't forget to follow us on multiple platforms for the Ghetto Fabulous Podcast, such as iTunes, aka Apple Podcasts, Google Cast, Chromecast. Nope, that's not true. That's a different thing. RadioPublic, and Spotify, the big one. Yes, thank you. It's been a minute. Also, of course, subscribe to our channel right here on YouTube, and you can also find me on multiple social media platforms such as Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and SoundCloud by searching Kirby Kwan Jr. That's KirbyKwanJr. Once again, this has been Shane and myself for the Ghetto Fabulous Podcast. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed this, and take care.